going on, family?
What's good, brother?
Quan here with another episode of We Hear You, AmmoFIlmzTV, and I'm here with the infamous South Baltimore's very own Flatline.
What's good, brother? Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate you,
Man, what's going on, man? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, bro. Feeling great. Just working. Blessed to have another day above ground, chasing opportunities.
Glad to hear that, brother. Glad to hear that, man. Well, I want to start first with Flatline. Who is Flatline? Like, where did that name come from?
So the name, it's actually two parts the name came from. So I've been making music since I was hella young, like in studios, like 13, 14 years old. I had my own studio in my house, like a setup studio, and I recorded music and put it out. I'm about Problem Child back then because I was literally a kid and shit. And as I got a little bit older, obviously, you can't be, as you start taking yourself serious as a grown man, you ain't trying nobody to call you a child. So ended up, I just was rapping, like, ain't really have nothing I was even going by. My homie, Be More Bliss, he's another artist. He actually gave me the name. It was like, you be Flatline and shit. You like that name? I was like, yeah. He was like, you should use that, Flatline. Boom. That's where the name came from. But then I take my talents out to South California, you know what I mean? Like LeBron took my talents to South Beach. Now I go out to Southern California. I'm living out there. I'm making music out there, releasing music. And I come across somebody who, a couple different people who had told me about another artist named Flatline. Like, then I go down to Texas, like I travel down there. And as soon as everybody I met who I told them my name, they was like, Flatline, like, don't you know that there's already a Flatline and he passed away? Like, I'm like, nah, I didn't know that, but he's like a Texas legend, this dude Flatline.
Okay.
So at that point, I was faced with, what am I going to do?
A dilemma.
Right, what am I going to do? I'm not going to disrespect the dead. And at the same time, like, it was confusing people when they were searching for me online because they're finding his videos, not being able to find mine. I got millions of views.
Wow.
So I ended up putting the Forreal with it. That always been my Instagram name. So
it's Flatline Forreal.
Flatline Forreal, yeah.
Okay, and that's definitely, let me say, a Baltimore stamp, I would say, for real.
Yes, sir, yeah.
Alrighty, okay. So, which takes me to my next question. You're from South Baltimore. What part of South Baltimore do you claim?
So I claim just South Baltimore as a whole, but
Right.
I'm originally from Brooklyn. And I grew up in Brooklyn in between 5th and 6th Street on Annabelle Avenue. I grew up over there until I was...
What type of area is that, man? That's South Baltimore. That's the heart. That's like the heart of South Baltimore. What goes on? What kind of area is between 5th and 6th?
So, shit, man. But right there, it's a fucked up little area for real. But see, it's like families there and people trying to survive and do right. But then you got an area that's grappling, completely ruined by addiction. I mean, like, it is all in and throughout it. And it's in every facility of that, from the families that live there to the kids that grow up seeing those things. And that's when they want some money, they don't think like, oh, I'm going to go, open a market, start selling shit or something. They think, I'm going to go sell drugs because that's what they see around them. That's fast money. The people they think are cool are doing that. And that's what that area is. It's an area that is enthralled with either people of the lower economic class who are usually dealing with some type of addiction throughout, either with them or people in their family. That's what the area is.
So between 5th and 6th, or the whole Brooklyn, South Baltimore. Matter of fact, the whole South Baltimore, you think is a drug-ridden, poverty street?
I would definitely not say that, but I mean, the problem with this.
So what part of South Baltimore would you say isn't?
That Federal Hill.
That is South Baltimore. Sure.
Federal Hill isn't. You know what I mean? Federal Hill's a nice neighborhood because they gentrified it, which is fucked up.
Hold up, let's shout them out. If you ever come to Baltimore, make sure you stop by Federal Hill.
Yeah, go to Fed Hill.
Parts.
Go to Fed Hill. Go hit Cross Street. Meet some ladies. Whatever, you feel me? Go out Cross Street Market. Get you some food. Don't go to Lexington Market. Go to Cross Street Market. Stay safe.
We're gonna get a little more the South Baltimore, the personal side of you.
Right. Yeah. No, but I grew up in Brooklyn, right there, and then eventually I moved to the other side of the bridge when I was 15. Right there on Hanover and 4th Avenue, in between 4th and Randall Street. Lived right there until I was about 20, and then I moved to California to chase my motherfucking dreams.
One more question about that. And how is that area? Is that area like now still the same, or is it like gentrified more than that? Well,
that area is completely
reverse gentrification. Would it be reverse gentrification since you white? Like,
right, they done
black
kicked all the
people,
people.
right,
They just
all
kicked the
out.
poor people out.
They don't
And
give a
that's
fuck
the
what
thing.
you is, right?
They don't care what race you are, man. If you ain't got no money, you over this bitch trying to sell and
Get
use
up
drugs,
outta here.
you got to go the fuck on.
I'm
You
down
over, that's where they sent us, man, today. And for real, they done fucked up some people's neighborhoods doing that. Like, Anne Arundel County used to be way nicer. They done sent everybody from fucking South Baltimore to Brooklyn, Brooklyn Park, Pasadena, Glen Burnie, and fucking Curtis Bay. That's where they all went. So yeah, no, the area over there, it definitely is a nicer area for the people living there. But the problem with that is that none of the people who lived there before currently live there because they was all moved out. And yes, nobody forces you to move. But when people coming to you and they're like, look, these dollars is what we're gonna give you for your house. We need your house, and you know that you paid basically next to nothing for that house. You gotta let it go because you're in debt. You got no money. You gotta get.
Facts.
You have no option. Plus, everyone who's moving in there, every reason you had to stay tied to that area is gone. Everyone you knew is gone. People sell their houses and they leave, and it gentrifies the area. So that's what you're seeing now in that area.
That's a great understanding, bro. That's you definitely broke that down. I'm gonna definitely have to listen to what you said again. All right, but look, let's get into the music side of this. Flatline, right? Flatline.
Yes, sir.
Artist. How did you get into doing music?
So I started doing music, like I said, really young. Like,
how old is really young?
So honestly, I started writing poetry like when I was a child. I mean, second grade, I had a teacher, right? And every day, this teacher would have us come in, and I don't know what her reasoning for this was, but it was a great thing that benefited me personally.
You're not gonna shout her name out?
I don't even remember her name, to be honest with you. It's crazy. Yeah, that is crazy.
I remember every teacher name from kindergarten, Clark Moran, Oliver Perzak.
God damn. I remember my kindergarten teacher named Miss Frazier at 203.
Yo, it was a Miss Frazier at
203 in Brooklyn.
You went to Brooklyn Park?
No, I went to 203 in Brooklyn, which is in between, what's in between 4th and 3rd, I think, or 4th and 2nd or something like that, because it takes up 2 streets. Yeah, you know, all number streets right there. But yeah,
back into it. How'd you get into the
music?
The lady that you
yeah, she had us write poetry every day. Like when we first came into class, that was what we do. Then at the end of the year, we had these books that was filled with poetry. So she felt like my stuff was very good. She pulled my mom up and was like, hey, you know, your son's really talented at this. Like, he's wrote this book. All the other kids kept their book. I really wish, would like if you let me keep his book. So she ended up keeping my book or whatever. That means nothing. But for that, my mother then I was never really good at shit. So then there was finally something that she felt like I was good at. You know what I mean? And she wanted me to continue doing it. And so, like, I just continued writing poetry. Eventually, that became me expressing the things I was going through in life. And eventually, I came across rap music. Like, you know, when I was kind of young, my mom put me on the rap music. I ain't had no pops. So my mother eventually met somebody who was my stepfather. He raised me. But my mom put me on the rap music and hip-hop music. From there, I got into the studio, making my own studio because I just wanted to record music. And I had a computer in my house, so I had a little shitty little mic, and I fucking figured it out. And then eventually I met an artist named Be More Blizz. He was one of my friend's bigger brothers.
Shout out to Be More Blizz, man.
Shout out Be More Blizz. So Blizz like Blizzard. Yup.
B-L-I-Z.
B-L-I-Z-Z. Yup.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my big bro. But I met him, and we still do music together to this day. But I met him, goddamn, 20 years ago. I met bro, and I was a teenager. He had no reason to do nothing for me that he did. But I met, he was fresh out of jail. He was like, I got these opportunities or whatever. I rapped for him. He liked it. Right on the block, I remember the day I met him. It was hella people out there. Shit was packed. Everybody welcoming him home.
You already been rapping at this time.
I've been rapping. Everybody in the neighborhood knew I rapped. Okay. They've been telling him, like his younger brother was like, so like the younger people in the neighborhood all knew about me, knew I rap, because, you know, that's what they would do. We'd get together, smoke weed. They'd be like, rap for us. I'm like 14, 15 years old at this time. And I meet Blizz, and then I remember meeting him out there. Everybody's, you know, welcoming him home and shit. I meet him. Bro is hella crazy looking for my age. He's like, you know, tattooed all on his face and shit. Very intimidating. He's like, rap for me. I remember being a little intimidated. And I rapped for him, and I remember when he liked it, I felt like proud of myself. You feel me? Like it meant a lot to me that somebody that I knew people took him serious music wise, and it meant a lot to me that he liked what I had did. So then he took me to the studio. He recorded with Tess. Shout out to Tess.
Shout out to Tess.
He recorded with Tess over in Brooklyn. And he took me over there, bro. He was in a group with a dude named Sane. They went by No BS at the time. I got on like 9 songs on their album. You know, Tess was all over that album. Like he recorded everything for him.
And is that you got more buzz from working with Blizz?
I got more buzz, but I learned a lot. Like I learned what I was always making music, right? And I knew like what punchlines and metaphors were, and like I knew what stuff was, but I just learned a lot about like deliveries, flows, and it was just from him allowing me that opportunity to sit in those studio sessions with all those people, sitting there with people who've been doing music forever that were dead ass serious musicians, learning from them. Not that they were saying, listen and watch this Flatline, but because I was sitting there attentively listening and watching, because he provided me with those opportunities to be in those spaces.
So your upbringing came from the original poetry with the teacher whose name you didn't remember at 203.
Yeah, yep.
And the rap, then you turned that into rapping, and then like a lot of your inspiration on a personal level came from you linking up with Blizz and him 100%. Showing you certain things. Boom. Now that's going to take me into my next question. How did your upbringing in South Baltimore shape your love for rap music? I'm guessing you met him in South Baltimore, but how did that shape your love for not just rap music, but music in general?
So, I mean, I think that everybody...
hold up. How did poetry first shape your love for music growing up? How was poetry like?
So, and that's a great thing, because I really learned how to write the raps before I ever learned how to say them. So like when I was writing these poetry things, I learned early on from when I would read my stuff and how people would react to what I'm saying. I learned what was like hitting with people, and I learned when things were deeper, what emotions they would touch on. And that's why even in certain songs I do now, I talk about the addictions I've been through, the drug addiction, everything. Like it's an open book for me because it's therapy to me. So poetry allowed me that. It allowed me to see people's reactions without me saying them, because you don't got to deliver poetry.
Right.
People read it, they interpret it how they interpret it, or you can read it to them. But it's not about how you're saying, it's what you're saying. Okay. And that first and foremost showed me that what you're saying is important, which is, I feel like, sometimes skipped over today. What you're saying being important versus people just caring how it's being said.
So you would say that poetry influenced you knowing how to actually make music, like rap, and make real music that actually makes sense. Like
saying things words that was deeper than just
blah, blah,
some
blah.
shit that sounded cool to say.
Okay.
Right, exactly. And then my upbringing, I would like to think that, you know, most musicians are taking what's around them and what they see, and then they release that out. And that's what I've always done. Like, so if you listen to my music, you're going to hear a lot about, you know, my upbringing with my uncle and his addiction and me selling drugs, and you'll hear all that shit. And then you're going to hear about my addiction, and you're going to hear about me not having a father. You're going to hear about my struggles with that and how I forgave him. You're going to hear about if you sit down and listen to my catalog, I feel like you will probably know me as a person. And that's because this is how I cope with life as well. So, of course, there are songs that I put out to be those songs that are like, you know, catchy songs and I want to hit and shit. But then there's those songs that is showing people who I am through and through, like from when I was a child to now. And I feel like my upbringing, it really just showed me a lot of the things that I later talked about. So if I never go through those painful things, seeing people around me on drugs, or, you know, my father not being there because he was on drugs, or myself then going and being on drugs, my friends dying, my best friends dying from addiction over if I never go through those things, maybe I don't got nothing to write about.
So the majority of your music is really inspired by your life.
Real life, 100%. And it always has been. It always has been.
That's a clear separation. Okay, cool, okay. Besides Blizz, which is, I know that's probably, because that's personal, that's somebody that probably poured into you on a personal level.
Most definitely.
And who was your biggest influence in the rap game? I guess you can go industry-wide.
So we're going to talk about people I don't know personally, obviously.
Who was your influence, and how did their style, I guess, inspire you? You know what I'm saying? How did their style inspire you to be who you are?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I want to know this answer personally.
Yep. So, it's a couple people. DMX first and foremost, right?
So
I love DMX, my favorite rapper, bro, because he'll tell you that man ain't holding nothing back. He'll tell you what he was doing, didn't care how he got judged for it. But because I think that he had a certain ability to keep things real with people in a way that not every artist does. And as an artist, I think that that's a certain gift that not everybody has. One, to understand you're going to be judged for it, but to understand that that's okay and to not care about that because there's somebody who's going through what you're talking about who is going to help. So that, but also with his delivery. So like when I first started rapping, I didn't really like the way my voice sounded. Remember, I'm 13 years old trying to rap. Think about what a 13-year-old white boy sounds like. Now imagine that trying to be recorded to rap. Didn't really sound great. So I was experimenting with all kind of different deliveries. I tried to sing, that shit was terrible. I tried to rap like, just talking my normal voice, like that shit didn't work out for me. So I kept experimenting, and he was somebody I tuned into with the more aggressive delivery that he gonna make you feel him, and that that's really what I picked up from him, as well as like I said, like the real giving you them real parts of his life that other people were not giving you. Everybody can make a club record. Anybody. If you don't rap today, you could get you a fire beat and come up with a catchy phrase and put a hook to it, and now you got you a club record. But you gotta go through some stuff to tell somebody some stuff like what DMX told you. You can't just make that up. Like it's a certain pain in a song like Slippin' that you can't just make up. You can't write and give to somebody else. That's got to be you who gives that to somebody who went through that.
Okay. Just give me a couple more. Give me a couple more that inspired you.
I would say Cassidy,
Uh-huh.
Eminem, and 50 Cent. And for Eminem, just like simply, I related to a lot of things he was talking about. I related to, a lot of you want to root for somebody a lot of times who makes you feel like you can achieve what you're trying to because they have achieved it. They've been through the same things as you or anything like that. And I felt like, obviously look in a very similar way. Being a somebody who grew up with a single mother in an economically challenged urban neighborhood, like in a city, in the inner city. I just felt like I related to a lot of things he was talking about, even as far as like getting bullied in school and shit, not really relating to people. I just related to a lot of his older work, you know what I mean? When I was young. This is when I'm around that age, just starting to rap. 12 years old, Eminem shows out. My favorite Eminem album ever. But yeah, and then with that, Cassidy, somebody who had them lines, man, like, Cassidy to me is like the punchline fucking GOAT, man. Like, especially like, I could rap you off top. I could rap you whole Cassidy verses right now that I ain't heard in 10 years. Because to me, he was talking that shit. And then 50 Cent, like, he was like 50 Cent to me was a great songwriter, but also he was like the king of that slick talk shit.
Yeah, I like 50, man.
He was going to talk it in a way, and that first album specifically hit hard enough for me to where it just didn't even matter what else he did. I liked The Massacre. I liked Before I Saw the Struggle, but that first album was to me such a classic. I didn't know if it was the rawness in his voice from him just recovering from the shit he went through, like in his mouth and shit. I don't know what it was, but that mixed with the shit he was talking, and he with that like that nobody likes me because he didn't care. Yeah. He played into that villain role. And I like that shit.
Okay. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. That's definitely four nice artists right there.
Yep.
Okay, so have you faced any challenges or pushback on the rap scene, because of being a white artist, in Baltimore? Has that
So I wasn't even specifically saying Baltimore because here's the thing: a large amount of my musical journey has been spent outside of Baltimore.
Which is my next question. Okay.
So, but what I will say, so without getting into why that is, since that's my brother's next question, I'm gonna just tell you why. But I have faced it, but it just hasn't been specifically in one place, and the reason for that is because my career was elsewhere, like I said. But you always it don't matter if you white, if you black, if you're Mexican, you Asian, whatever you are, Samoan, Hawaiian, I ain't trying to leave nobody out, you feel me? But no matter what you are, you gonna go through shit. Whereas though, as if you're in an environment where people look different than you, are predominant in that environment,
or in that culture or in that business, right? Bro, what you think this is? People, there's people who don't, people aren't like happy-go-lucky people. People are miserable and they like to shit on other people, you feel me? So, yeah, you face people hating on you, but like it is what it is. You would face that if you were black, trying to go work a job somewhere that say your dream is to be a fucking hockey player. And you're black. You don't think you're gonna go through some shit like that?
It don't matter what race you are.
Exactly. Right. And so yeah, I'm white and I'm trying to do some shit that most white people don't do. And honestly, I face more judgment from white people.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, do they?
To be honest with you, like I face just as much judgment, if not more, from white people who like.
What are you doing?
Yeah, like they're like, oh, you can't be, and like a lot of, because I get it. When you're in your couch in your fucking suburban area and you're sitting there, you're looking, you're like, oh, this can't be real. This guy can't be fucking from this shit, like fucking with these people. But unfortunately, it is. I wish that I grew up in them same places y'all did, but I didn't, bro. So I didn't have them same opportunities. I went and created my opportunities. This is what I fell in love with, and I accept anything that may come with that, whether that's
beautiful.
Backlash or whatever. It's fine with me.
You gotta embrace it now, dude.
Exactly. Like I just said, I like 50 Cent. He played into that villain shit, and if that's what it is, then I'll do the same. Yep.
Cool. So, California. How did you get to California, man? How does California come into the picture?
So, I'm around the time I told you I met Blizz. We rocking together, making music, doing shows, traveling to New York. Like, we really going at it. At the same time, Facebook's kind of around, and it's kind of newer, but it's around or whatever. And I'm posting my music on there. So I had an uncle who lived in California. My father, who I am not in contact with, was not ever in contact with, really, don't really know that well. But his brother, my grandmother, his mother, was always in my life, and so was the rest of his family, to be honest, which was just not him. You know what I mean? Oddly enough. So, like, his brother was living in California, and he basically, Blizz was in and out of jail at the time, still in the streets. So, it was kind of like, it came about, I remember, at a time where it was taught and planned out when he was in jail, and then he had just got out right as I had left. You know what I mean? But I was getting in trouble myself, you know what I mean? Messing up, popping pills, doing drugs, you feel me? Like, really just off the shits, like getting arrested, just doing the most, you know what I mean? I remember I turned 18 and I think it was like 3 days after I turned 18, I got arrested for assault on a police officer. And then a week after that, I got caught with 30 dons already. So, like, and got caught with, and got charged with possession with the intent. And then 2 weeks after that, I got caught with a bunch of pills, like 10 pills in my pocket. It just was stupid, man. Like, I was just doing some stupid shit. So, when my uncle offered me to come out there, I was like, yeah, I want to come out there and check this out. And at the time, I had just been working on this music with Blizz. I had also done like a solo project that was like 12 songs that I worked on. I wanted to take it to Cali with me, see what Cali hits for, you know what I mean? So it's San Diego, to be specific, was my first landing spot in California. And I get out there, I land out there in Cali, and I knew a lot of people out there because I had met a lot of dudes who work for this clothing company. It's real big out there named Seedless. And it's a dude in specific named Tone, my Uncle Toe, shout out. That's my uncle, one of his best friends. I went on a tour with them selling t-shirts, Snoop Dogg and Slightly Stupid. I got to go on this tour. I met everybody. I had backstage passes to the whole shit. Got to meet and hang with all these dudes. The shit was so cool. But I met a lot of connections, DJs, people. It was a dude there who was like a friend of Slightly Stupid, who was the headline and reggae band. He was a roadie for them. So he when I moved to California, he's living there. Me and him was real good friends. He was a DJ now. And now so it was just like I met all these people that you never know when you're like where these connections are going to come from, bro. So I meet these people while I'm on vacation in Florida. Then I moved to California 2 years later, and they're all there. And they're helping me. I meet a dude out there who was making beats for me named D Grease, and then I meet another dude named Cognac and Demi Dago. Me and Cognac
Shout out
and
to
Demi.
them.
Shout out to all that. Me and Cognac and Demi Dago get in a group. We opening up for the Migos, Ray Shremmer, Young Thug. I mean, God, it was so many people. Like literally, I'm not gonna sit here for 10 minutes and name the list. Anyone who was around us at that time and went to them shows knows what's up. There's video footage
really
of it.
did his thing for you.
I learned so much out there. I was so beneficial for the people that I was around out there, and the opportunities that I had out there. And honestly, it showed to me too. Like I could move somewhere where I didn't know nobody, and I had it in me to make that shit happen on my own. I didn't need no help. I get on my own too and go make it happen.
100%.
And a lot of people don't know if they can do that, but I know I can because I've done it. And I didn't know if I could do it when I landed in California. Honestly, I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen, but I knew I wanted to find out. I knew I was really done with the shit that was going on here. And I went through a whole nother chapter in my life where, I moved back here, and then I go, through a relapse, get back on drugs. I was clean off. I didn't do no hard drugs the whole time I was in California. Like, I smoke weed and shit, drank, shit like that. Do like maybe some little partying and shit, pop some mollies, hit a bean, whatever the fuck. I don't know. But I moved back here and went off the rails and shit. So I went through a whole nother chapter of my life because it was like I ran from my problems here. So I had to move back here and get right and be able. I was just running from my addiction for real. I was able to stay clean because I ran from it. So I had to move home. And it is fucked up as it was. I had to put myself through it in order to ever come back here. And so I could have stayed gone forever, but unfortunately, financial in California is goddamn expensive. You feel me?
Yeah.
Not all your dreams don't come true when you want them to. They come true when they're meant to. When you've worked for them. So I wanted them to come true then, but unfortunately, I had more work to put in. So that's what we went through.
So it seemed like Cali did good for you, man. That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Now you back here in Baltimore, working. I see you doing your thing, networking with other people. You know what I mean?
Appreciate you, buddy. Yo.
Yeah. What are your goals, man, as an artist? And I guess to wrap it up, what advice do you have to artists who are trying to get, even if you don't think you big? I see all y'all as big to me for real because
Appreciate
y'all are bold enough to do it, even rap in front of people, and people say that y'all did a good job. So. What would you say to somebody that's in the show, that's trying to be there?
So my goals, I'm gonna continue to do what I've been doing. If you've been following me, you know that I really amped shit up over the last year, really since the summer. I mean, it's just been a lot, but I want to double that this year, like double the production, the releases, which I did a lot last year. It's gonna be hard to double that, but we're gonna try. And damn sure certain we're gonna double the numbers. You know what I mean? I want to continue to grow. I want to continue to grow as a person. I'm trying to become a better person, the best version of myself I can. I want to continue to grow as an artist, make the best music I can, and hopefully help people that's listening to it who may be going through the same type shit that I talk about, or just somebody who, is listening, who wants, like he said, was asking about, you want to be an artist yourself. A lot of the shit I might talk about is some struggles I go through, like with this right here. And my advice to anybody who's considering doing this would be that if you're gonna do it, to understand that you're gonna have to go get a job, and nobody is gonna give you nothing. You're gonna have to go get a job or some type of financial backing, and you're gonna have to work hard for everything. You're not gonna meet anybody who drops some random shit in your lap and says, yo, here's all this free shit. Like, I believe in you. You rap so great. Every now and then, every now and then, you might meet somebody who's willing to invest in you.
Low odds.
But you probably going to work till before you get to that point.
Right. They see you investing in yourself.
Because when you first start, you have these bright eyes for everything. Like, everything seems like it's very positive. But then you're going to hit that point where you question, why am I doing this? And when you get to that point, if you don't immediately hit a gear where you go into overdrive and start doing shit 20 times harder, you're going to stop working hard. You're going to fall off. And you'll have wasted a ton of money. So my advice would be that if you're going to do this shit, to just give it all you got. Don't have time with it. If you're doing it because you like making music, that's perfectly fine. Then in that case, my advice is don't invest your money into it.
That's how I say
and if you're doing it because you want to go further, then my advice is invest everything you got into it.
Money.
Like, you gotta be willing to do anything it's gonna take, man. And it's gotta be the most important thing to you. There ain't one single thing that can matter more. Because at the end of the day, if the opportunity comes, you're gonna have to pick up and go. So just
Great
make
advice,
sure
brother.
that you're committed. That's my advice. Make sure you're committed.
Great guys, man. Shit, where can we find you at, brother?
Shit, you can find Flatline Forreal. That's Flatline space FORREAL on all platforms. Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Tidal, whatever you listen to music on, YouTube. I drop new videos all the time. I got a new video coming out soon. Actually, it comes out on the 31st of this month, January. I don't know when we're gonna drop this.
What's the song called?
This song is called Motion Back,
Okay.
featuring myself and Ferrari Freddie G. So me and Ferrari Freddie did the song.
Right.
It's a banger. Love the Culture shot the video. And I also got 2 new videos dropping with my bros here at AmmoFIlms. That shit gonna be crazy. Count Again and Poppin'. Both of them videos coming soon. We don't have exact drop dates, but they coming soon.
They're coming soon. Yes. Cool, beautiful. Well, appreciate you, man.
No, I appreciate you
Wish
having
you
me
all
through,
the
brother.
best, brother.
Yo, you keep grinding too, man. I love the work you're doing. The interviews, all that shit, super dope, bro. Appreciate you, brother.